So this time I'm gonna sharpen this beautiful knife. This belongs to a friend of mine who found this in the forest several years ago, and he found it like this. And here you can see the Cold Steel Recon Tanto, and this is the original, or the first version. They did produce the first one, I think, in 1993 with this Cordura nylon sheath, which had a belt loop with 2 straps on it, and in the bottom here was a plastic D-ring. So this is the way my friend found it, and he has been using it, and it has been using it rather hard for several years. So it's got a great set of marks from all the use. I love to see a well-used knife like this. But it also has, I believe, probably never, or at least not been sharpened many times. So it's time to do some sharpening on it. Here you can see the tank stamp. It's a Cold Steel Carbon V, made in the USA. So this is the first version of this knife. It says Recon Tanto, and you can see the blade is well used. It's been used for stabbing and chopping, so you can see that the coating is worn off in places, or worn through, and the edge is chipped and rolled and rather dull. So this needs a good sharpening. Let me see here. This is the 120 grit. Let's see. Let's find the edge. Inspect it. And I also have to be careful so I don't round off the tip of the Tanto too much. So I want to keep that as corner, as crisp as possible. So let's see. If you can see, doesn't show up very well on the camera. There are still a few nicks at this portion of the blade, so I'll keep on going. Yeah, I'm just gonna go and do a little cleanup here. It's very important when you do a sharpening that you don't just look at the edge and think, I'll take the rest on the next grit. No, you have to keep on going on this lower grit stones until you are done completely. That will save you a lot of work, because if there are still some imperfections in the edge when you go from this stone to the next one, you will be on the next one a lot longer than you need to. So keep on going, keep on checking, and I like to use paper because that shows where and if there are some places where it still catches without me being able to see it. And I also like to slow down a little bit to have better control when I'm reaching this point where I'm almost finished with one stone. I like to make sure that I'm keeping my angle as well as I can, and that I am getting an even result. We are very nearly there. Just a few more passes and I'll change the grits, or rather I change to the tip part. Now I'm changing to the tip. Tanto tip is made like this to be a very sturdy. See here that the way the tip is thick and beefy all the way to the tip. I also want to make sure not to lay the edge too much back, but keep the sturdiness of the edge. That's important because a Tanto is supposed to be withstanding stabbing into things. And also, I don't know if I can show this up here. I'm trying to get this as sharp as possible so that there is actually a point here too. So for my next stone, I will take this one. This is the veneer industrial diamond, which has a 220 and a 700 side. So I'll start with the 220 and go on. It's also a much different sound from the 120 Sharpening stone. It sounds and feels much smoother, but it is a very effective stone, and it cuts very well. And I can already see surf in the water. It's not all about if it cuts paper, but it is the sound of it too. So you can feel the progressions as you go through the stone, through the sound of the cut through paper. I can hear it coming along nicely. And I can actually feel, by the way the knife moves and by the way it sounds, you can feel how the scratch marks from the previous stone disappears, because it is a bit of a toothy edge from the 120, and as I go on it becomes smoother and smoother, and you can hear it and you can feel it. So it's almost like you can hear and feel when you're done with the next, or with this stone at least. When you get to the finer stones, that you can't hear it that well, but when you go from a 120 and down to this, you can feel it getting smoother and smoother until it is as smooth as this stone is. I'll go to the 700 grit side. Now I haven't decided yet how high up the grit scale I'm gonna go, but we'll see after this one if you want to go any higher or well, you can hear the difference here. Zooming, I think you can see it, but there are already quite a lot of steel been taken off on this 700 grit, so this is a very effective stone. Just like that. I'm gonna try with a bit of paper again, just to see, or just to listen. Go to the tip. So here I have 3 micron strap and just do the finishing touches to this sharpening. Gonna take it any finer than the 1 micron. It's plenty fine enough for this knife. is the final edge. Did manage to keep a sharp corner there. And there. Let's put some paper. Let's see how it behaves. Pretty good, and that tip cuts very well indeed. So